Yo, 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 welcome to the Divine Play Podcast, a practical guide to living with joy. My name is Marilena Lee, and I'm here with the beautiful
Shannon Morrison.
And we are here to talk to you about yet another practical and pragmatic tool for living your life with joy by tossing out the stuff that isn't serving you anymore. And we're going to talk today about letting go, but we're going to talk about letting go very specifically of something that all of us have, which is attachment. And we're going to talk today about living life on life's terms. And so I'm super stoked to have this conversation today because
I'm
today
so
was
excited too.
an example of this, right? Like our plans we planned to start earlier than we did. And it kind of didn't go the way that we had anticipated it was going to go. And it dawned on me that one of the things that Shannon and I are both like honestly kind of badasses at is living life on life terms, like letting go of the outcome or our attachment to what should be and instead rolling with what is. So with that, let's go.
I love it. I love how you like life should be. I think it's expectation or a judgment of what we think, what our picture is of the outcome. So I like that the shoulda came in your statement just then. That's interesting. I love it.
I'm glad that you brought up expectation because expectation, this is something that was taught to me by one of my teachers. And yeah, I repeat it like a parrot. Expectation is a recipe for disappointment only every time.
Every single time, yeah.
Yep. And in the recovery space, somebody said to me, I think it was like last year or the year before that, that expectations are premeditated resentments.
Mm,
Yeah.
feel that. That is
Yeah.
true. Oh my gosh. And I just what comes to mind with letting go of attachments is the control. I feel like life's us. I feel like I talk about, I'm sure you do, life hits us sideways all the time when we least expect it. We cannot control everything. And there's so many humans I used to love. I'm a recovering controlling of my world. I just decided one day that I was tired of being angry all the time.
Oof.
I was tired of disappointing myself or being a disappointment because that's what I felt like I was when it didn't get created in the way somebody else thought it should be. And I'm just like, why is this so horrible, right? And so, oh, it's acceptance. I love that, and it's what if something else is going to be created because this didn't go the way that maybe I had planned.
So I have this little game that I play when things are not going as planned. And I'm sure there are other people out here there who do this. So please, like, I would like to know if anybody else does this because I feel like maybe this is a weird trait of mine. But I have this little game, like, say I am 15 minutes late getting out of the house and I'm trying to get somewhere and I'm late getting there. And then I hit traffic on top of that or whatever. And what
Mm,
I tell myself is, well, if I had left on time, I probably would have gotten caught up in a 15 car pileup and
mhm,
not made it where I was trying to go anyways, or maybe I would have lost my life. And, it couldn't have happened any other way. And it was
mhm.
probably a good thing. And I play this little game with myself about all of the terrible things that could have happened had I left on time or if things had gone as planned. And I mean, I'm actually like a little curious now about the psychology behind why I do that. But do
It's
you do that?
interesting, but oh yeah, I do. Actually, I just had this conversation with my husband because my daughter texted me yesterday. We're feelers. We feel things. You feel things, Marilena. And she texted me and she said, I got a really bad feeling. Be careful. And so we had this whole conversation last night with my husband, and we do this I said, we do this. Just like if you're like, I get behind a train, I don't get mad. I'm like, all right, we have more time to sit here. We have more time to think about it. We have more time to plan. Maybe we see something outside that we would never have seen. And I said, there's always a reason that this train is put in front of us. And instead of being frustrated, we can choose a reframe. And that's what I hear you saying when choose a reframe. But or when you're choosing a different like thought process, something could have gone massively wrong. And that's exactly where my brain goes to. Something is going massively wrong if I would not have been delayed or spilled coffee all over myself or locked myself out of my house and I forgot my keys or whatever it would happen. Because life happens. Shit happens every day. And so we get to think of it differently. And what happens when you can think of it
Well,
differently?
And I also think, right, like we're talking about like, hey, this is my practical tool to having a joyful
Mhm,
life. And I think for me, what is a joyful life specifically, it is kind of being able to roll with what is.
mhm,
Because when I'm suffering, which is kind of the opposite of joy for me, because I can be sad and I can be going through something really difficult, like maybe somebody I love passed away or something like that. And I could
mhm,
be really sad and I could have pain, but I'm not suffering. And so, but when I'm suffering, that's kind of the opposite of joy for me. And I think almost always, only every time, that suffering is caused by a resistance to what is actually happening. And so, say something doesn't go right and it rains on the day that I'm supposed to be in a parade. And I've been, training, like, say it's, like a Mardi Gras parade or whatever, carnival. And I've been dancing samba for 6 months straight and, practicing 4 hours a day to be in this parade. And then it's like torrential downpour, hurricane level winds, and like the whole thing gets canceled. I can be like, yeah, that sucks. Or, I could be like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And it can become suffering. And so I think
mhm,
that's the thing, right? Is like learning to live life on life's terms is something that we talk a lot about in recovery. And I think
mhm.
that that ability to kind of let go of our attachment to what should have been is the way that we are able to like live a life of joy even when shit hits the fan.
Absolutely. Another thing that I wanted to bring up today that just kind of came up to me is like those, I think letting go of attachments or getting attached to things keeps us in our own stories a lot. What if the attachment is a job that's holding us back, or a
Mhm.
relationship that's holding us back, or a fear of what could be because we know what this is, and we're attached to this
Oh, the
life that we
feeling.
have, the
The feeling of
feeling.
comfort.
Yes. Yes, that
We're
comes up for me too.
we're attached to the devil we know,
Mhm,
right? Oh, that's really good. I've never thought of it in those terms, and I think that's really good. But when I was coming through, there was a relationship that I was in at one point in my life, and it was somebody that I loved very much, but it had not been a good relationship for many years, and I was tormented by like, oh, I can't leave. Oh, I can't leave. Oh, I can't leave. And this person that I loved very much, it was a good relationship. It wasn't right for everybody involved. And
mhm.
one of my mentors asked me this question and it floored me. And I had this story that I couldn't leave because I would be ruining everybody's life if I left,
Mm,
theirs specifically, but also other people's. And the question that was asked to me was, what if you're the thing that is holding them back? Not me, them. What if you're the thing that is holding them back?
wow. Short story, how'd that feel?
Honestly, it took me so off guard because I had such a strong story that they were
Mm,
dependent on me, that their happiness was dependent on me. But the truth of the matter is that I couldn't give them what they wanted in a relationship that was fulfilling and fair to them. And I realized in the long run that I was holding them back from living a life of joy
mhm.
because I was making myself the center of their universe and like treating them as if they couldn't live without
They
me, which was
couldn't. Yeah, and that they're not responsible for their own joy, or that they can't create their own joy. We're not responsible for other friends.
bull.
This is like a thing, and it's like a pathway of self-development. Like, I have realized I cannot make anybody else happy. I can bring joy to a situation, and I can make people laugh, and I can make people smile, like, by creating it, but it's a choice, right? Um,
Mhm.
and that is again, I feel like what I hear you saying is, "Oh my gosh, I have done that so much in my life too," and that is a paramount question. So we get to put that in the comments, like what in the show notes, because that was amazing. But it's a control. It is again
Mhm.
trying to control everything in your life so it is the way you think it should be. And he questioned that, like, should it be this?
Mm, mm.
I love this so much. Oh my gosh, this conversation is amazing. So we are going, where are we going to go with this? Like, what is a tool that you have used besides this awesome reframe question? Because
Well,
that was amazing. What is a tool to let go of the context of what you think or what your brain picture should be?
so I'm gonna do my very favorite tool, which is to question your story. Um,
Mm.
right? So, and this work was really brought like, and of course, this is a spiritual practice that's been done by, many spiritual like lineages for a long, long time. But Byron Katie wrote a book
Mhm.
called The Work. Highly recommend it. It is a huge part of my coaching practice, a huge part of what I teach my clients to do for themselves, to put the power in their hands. And that's exactly what the work is
Mhm.
and it's literally it's about questioning your story. And so if you are attached to what should be, that question you just asked is a variation on the work. Well, should it be that way? Is
Mhm.
that true? That is the
Is
very
that
first
true?
question. is
Mhm.
is that actually true?
And this has
And
come up before in another episode. So if you
yeah,
guys want more deep involved on this book and these questions, it was in a previous episode, so check that out as
yeah,
well. But it so pertains to this conversation as well,
it
which we
so
could
does that, like, and
yeah.
even the idea that it should be another way.
Mhm.
Well, is that true?
Is that
And
true?
the thing also too is letting go. I had another teacher, and like they pointed out to me, because my whole thing over the years has been it's not fair. It's not fair. It's
Mhm.
not fair. It's not fair.
Well, kids
Yeah,
say that all the time. We
right.
we grow up saying, "Well, that's just not fair," and you're just disappointed because you think it should be a
And
different
here's
way.
the tool that comes along with questioning your story: radical fucking acceptance. Yeah, you're right. It's not fucking fair. It's not fair, and it will never be fair. Life is not fair. The world is not fair. Justice does not really exist in many cases. Like, people don't get what's coming to them. Like, the world just is what it is, and it can't be any other way than how it is in this moment. It is
Mhm.
raining the day I'm supposed to be dancing in the parade. I am recording my podcast and depend on natural light to look beautiful, and it is dark as hell in my room right now. Those of you online who are watching this can see I look like I'm in a cave, right? What am I doing? Radical acceptance. Roll with the fucking punches. I'm living life on life's terms,
Exactly, and we get
and
to. It's called
having this
reframe
I'm having this conversation in the dark, because what else am I going to do? Rail about the
because
overcast clouds?
I feel like it's relevant.
It is relevant.
You get to get out of the dark. We get to choose our light. We get to choose our joy.
Yeah.
And how I have used the work and the work that I've been taught in every coach that's ever been is like, what are you celebrating? Like, are you
Mm,
seriously in the shit? Is everything this bad? Is this, like, again, is the story true? There was like positive things going on that you were just skipping over because you had this huge picture and this is what it was supposed to be. So my reframe and what I share repetitively with myself mostly, but with my coaching clients is what are those small wins? Because
mm,
every single small win to get unattached to this outcome of like, I feel like you live life and you do the thing, you do the business, you do the relationships, you show up the way you want to, the way you're the best self you can. And whatever is going to occur will occur. So, what
mhm.
if we just choose in our everyday without worrying about what the hell is going to happen in the future? Being hopeful and creating the best self every single day, and don't even think about the past. And so, like, little pieces of positivity, celebrations of every single thing we created, because that creates emotional resilience. That creates a different thought process. That creates a different core belief. And then you are and you will create this beautiful outcome or joy.
So I think, like, even just to take this a little bit further, because I know this is so your jam. Like, it's so funny because I feel like we're such a good balance to each other. Like, my jam is like, let's just dive into the muck, right? Like, let's go deep into the shadow. Let's like embrace the darkness. And you're like, let's be
You're like,
so
yes,
positive,
which is
right?
also why I'm in the light and you're in the dark.
Right, exactly. I'm over here in the shadows. See, this is okay. This is something that comes from neurolinguistic programming, and we use everything. We use everything to our advantage, and we take everything, even when disasters happen, we use that and we use it to make a metaphor or something. And that, oh my God, that was the most beautiful, unintentional. like explanation of like use everything, and then also tying into like your positive aspect of it, right? Is
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, like there's a gift in the shadow, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, because we can find the gift. And it's two sides of the same coin. Because for
Mhm.
you, right, you're like, where's the positive? What can you be grateful for here? And
Mhm.
same thing, I'm always asking, what is this trying to teach me? What is
Mhm.
this showing me?
Absolutely.
Right? Even though I'm like sitting over here in the muck and like some shit blew up in my face, like what's it trying to teach me right now? That I need to
Absolutely.
turn on my other light, right? Like, or that I need to
Yeah.
have a backup plan, or I need to be prepared for whatever. And I need to like,
Get to.
pay attention to the weather or the lighting outside. So like there's always a lesson in something. And I
Absolutely.
think that's one of the things you're really, really, really good at is like,
Mhm.
how is this happening for you? Like, what is it trying
Mhm.
to give you? And I know people get real pissed off about the whole like it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Rolling eyes, I feel it already, but it is. Do you go in through life attached to the world is sabotaging the shit out of me every single day?
I don't
Or do
like that
you
story.
yeah, or
That's
do you
icky.
go into the world of like what is opening up? Because something is always showing you something. Like life is showing you something every single moment of every day, and it's what filter you have on. So choose
Ooh,
your filter will create your
mm,
joy.
choose your filter. I think that's powerful as hell. And it is. We have a choice to
Mhm.
say, what is this doing for me? It's
Mhm.
giving me something. And that's another thing one of my mentors always says. Life just keeps on giving.
It does.
It just keeps on giving no matter what. It's either giving you, a cupcake, or it's giving you a big old Afgho
A lesson.
pie, right? Like another freaking
Giving you
growth
a
opportunity,
cupcake or it's giving you
an
oh my
Afgho
gosh.
pie. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So as we wrap up, Marilena, this has been an awesome conversation, which again, we could go on and on for this. I love this
always.
conversation. So letting go of attachments, rolling with the flow, what does it look like for you? So as we wrap up, what our lesson is, or what our practical guide to bringing joy into every day, something simple that we're sharing is what?
Question your story. Have radical acceptance for the fact that life isn't fair and that things are going to go haywire. And
Absolutely.
learning to let go. Don't shit on yourself.
Don't shit on yourself.
Don't shit on
Don't damn
yourself.
yourself. Absolutely. I think
Yeah,
context is like my number 34 strength, and there's a reason. I don't need to know what I already I think we get to know what we tried and it didn't work. Get that. Don't put your hand in the light socket again because you know it's gonna hurt, right? It's gonna start a
right.
fire, it's gonna shock you. So now what? So
Hmm.
I think and celebrate every small win. Ladies, if you get the dishes done, celebrate the shit out of yourself. I mean, seriously, like it can be that simple. You move your body, you dance in your house. We talk about dancing and singing and bringing joy in every day. So, what way did you choose joy in the face of life hitting you in the face today? Like,
That's a good question.
yeah,
So what's your
can be
practical
anything.
tool? 30 seconds or less.
It is mindfulness. It's like it's celebrating those small wins, acceptance over everything. You've said it. Basically, it's the context of the same thing. The way we say it is different, but it is the same context. What is life teaching me? How am I showing up for myself? And what am I celebrating instead of what am I shitting? So gratitude, friends. And it's simple. I know it.
Mm.
I roll in everything. But we have things that we don't think about every single day. Whether it's I have a roof on my house, I am breathing. Some people suffer harder than you. And so yeah, a little bit of gratitude. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
have a
Oh my gosh, this
teacher.
conversation is cool.
Oh man, I was just gonna come in with another nugget, but we are at 19 minutes.
We
We
get
get
to.
to keep our commitment to keep these under 20 minutes.
So we love you. We want to hear from you. Subscribe if you like this episode, and we'll see you next time.
With that, we say toodaloo, and we'll see you next time. All right,
Absolutely. See you next time.
bye.